Good evening, folks. My name is Renato de Oliveira. I am CEO and founder of e-NetSec Limited. Our goal at e-NetSec is to help small and startup companies, providing them with robust security solutions at an affordable price. While we take care of their security, they can focus on developing their products and growing. Today we're gonna show you how to install Microsoft Windows 2019 server. It's fairly easy to install and pretty much it follows the same way as the installation for Windows 10 and Windows 2016. Windows 2019 brings a lot of new features, very interesting, especially around security. Let's take a look at the Microsoft website, and the page for the new features. Here it is, that's Microsoft website, and they have a lot of good documentation for Windows 2019, and here are some of the new features, right, for Windows 19. They bring a Windows Admin Center, which is a Windows Admin Center. It's a web browser application, that you can use to managing clusters, hyper-covered infrastructure, and Windows 10. Desktop experience. Well, it's interesting because it makes the looks and feel exactly the same as Windows 10. It's interesting. Something that I pretty much like is around this area here, the security. Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, ATP. So those features here are very interesting. So I would suggest, after we show you how to install, take a look at this page and see, because these are very nice indeed. Okay, so let's go back to our installation and get going. Okay, get started. So I already created a virtual machine called Windows 19, as you can see here, right? Windows 2019, sorry. And I already booted, the server, and we are, at the BIOS, screen. So let's boot into the, let's mount the CD-ROM, right? I have my ISO image inside of the data store. So let's find the data store. Let's double click on it. Let's find my Windows 2019 and let's mount it. Okay, so there you can see it is connected. There's a green tick, which means the ISO image has been connected as a virtual CD-ROM. Okay, so let's go back to the installation and to the BIOS. Here, all I want to do is, well, we could do this at boot time. We can choose the CD-ROM, but as we are already here, I'm gonna make the CD-ROM the first device bootable, so it starts to looking for the CD-ROM straight away to boot off it. Okay, so press F10, to save the configuration and exit the BIOS, and it's gonna start, copying the files, and there you go. I'm trying to centralize this screen, but let's go back. So as we are in UK, right, I'm gonna choose the language, and obviously the language for UK is English, and United Kingdom, right? And here the keyboard, it's chosen the keyboard, to be United Kingdom keyboard, and the language to install is Windows. It doesn't give you the option to install the language for Windows United Kingdom. Okay, so once you have chosen your correct language, either to be Portuguese, Spanish, or English, or whatever, so you click next, and then you click install. And as you can see, setup is starting up. So now you have 4 options. The first option is to install Windows Server 2019 without the desktop experience, or what does it mean is without the graphical interface. Okay, and then you have the installation for the desktop, Windows 2019 with the desktop experience, and then you have the 2019 data center and the data center with the desktop experience. What we're going to be installing today is the Windows Server 2019 standard with the desktop experience, which means we're going to be installing it with the graphical interface. All right, so select it and click next. So then we accept the license agreement, tick the box I accept the license terms, click next. And now here we have 2 options. One option is to upgrade, and another option is to custom install, which will install Windows 2019 from scratch. We select the custom. It opens up a screen showing you the hard disk, which is 40 gig, and we can either here create a new partition. Normally Windows requires 2 partitions, one for the system and one for the data, but we're gonna let Windows create these 2 partitions by itself. So we're gonna click next. So Windows is reading the CD-ROM, it's looking at the hard disk and creating the partition, formatting it, and now Windows starts copying the installation files. It goes through this process, right? And once it's copied all the files, then it will ask to restart it, and the installation should be done. So that's pretty much it. But let's wait it finish the installation, and we can log to it and see how it looks like, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna pause for now while it finishes. When it reaches 100%, I will get back. Finally, Windows has finished copying most Windows files from the CD-ROM to this hard disk, and now it's finishing updating. Once it finishes updates, it will finish the installation, and then we're going to be ready to restart. As you can see, now once the PC, the server has rebooted it, it starts loading Windows 2019, and we can see the the usual window on the center of the screen, and here you can see this is to say that it is loading some services, loading all the configuration, and modifying everything, getting everything ready so you can have your Windows experience with Windows 2019. See, as you can see, services are starting up, which is normal. Getting ready devices, and again, getting ready. Well, the time it takes, it depends pretty much how fast is your CPU, how much memory you have, right? Here we have a virtual machine. I'm setting up this domain environment for our e-NetSec domain. So this is our primary, our first server, right? And I'm gonna create every single video to show you all the steps to get a Active Directory, domain set, so we can have, all the clients connected to the domain or join the domain, and post afterwards we're gonna install Exchange. We're gonna set up a whole infrastructure, and we're gonna record it all and show it all to you how it's done. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it. But as you can see, Windows has rebooted once again, and it is installing drivers, configuring all the devices, and in a minute or two it will be fully ready so we can log on. Okay, there you go. And now that it has finally finished loading, now it's asking us to create a password for the user administrator. I would say, create a very robust, strong password for the administrator, and once you have finished, you have to rename the administrator account to a obscure name, something that only you as a systems administrator or the owner of the server recognizes, because administrator is a very easy name to recognize what it is, what it does, and how much privileges it has, right? So bear that in mind. Let's set a password here. So I have set up my password, and now I click on finish, and then Windows will finish setting it all up, and now it is all ready to go, right? As you can see, it looks exactly a replica of Windows 10, right? So now we need to control delete, show you here, control guest, control delete, and what it's going to do is bring the login page, so you can type in your username and password, in fact just your password. So once you type the password and hit enter, so it's gonna load the profile, the administrator, and that's pretty much it in terms of installation. There are lots of other tidying up things that we need to do, but those videos will follow next. I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope, as you can see, it's fairly easy and you can reproduce the installation, right? So this is the screen. As you can see, it's pretty much the same thing as Windows 10. Have a look. But of course it's Windows, it's a server, so you have to add roles and everything else. So all of that we're gonna be showing you next, right, in our next video. For now, that's it. As I said, I hope you enjoyed, and see you next with configuring the first domain controller for our network. All right, bye, have a good night.